Welcome to Inspired Conversations, Living the Legacy with Legends. My name is Onkarabile Mukoto and I am your host. Nelson Mandela said, education is a powerful tool that you can use to change the world. It was King Solomon who said, train a child while he's still young so that he cannot forget your teachings. Today on my show, I have a wonderful lady who has dedicated her life to help school kids to have a good and better learning environment. And she's here today to discuss more about what she's doing. Sis Melo.
Yes.
What's it's AKA Melo.
Yes, AKA Melo.
Yeah, you'll tell me more or no. It's okay. Thank you for coming to my show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So okay, when we grow up, our own names, you know.
Yes, government names.
Somewhere. So please let us know you. Who is actually Melo?
Okay, so Melo comes from Boitumelo, but because Rebangata Boitumelo, I decided to go for Melo. I'm a gospel artist, so that's the name that I use when I sing or minister.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Boitumelo Molotsi. Tell us more about yourself.
Born and raised in Johannesburg. I've, grown up in a huge family, and in this family, when in a big family, you learn so much. Family that loved, all sorts of things, music, church. Actually, my grandfather, my grandparents were priests. They used to hold services in their garage, so that's where my love for God came from. And music as well came from being in a big family. Whenever there's an occasion, being birthday parties, weddings, there's always music and food involved. So I'm a loving person. I love life. I love to have a good laugh. And growing up, I guess mostly in school, that's where I was exposed to helping communities, because when I was in high school, every Monday we would go to a home for boys, and we would help them with homework, just give them a different environment to what they would be facing at home, for instance.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your background. You said that your parents, your pastors or priests.
My grandparents, yes.
Your priest, okay.
Yes.
And I believe that's where the love of gospel music came from. Yeah, but now, you chose a different genre of music.
Yes.
The one that actually is not. People at your age, normally they choose the strict gospel.
Yeah, like traditional gospel music.
Exactly,
yes.
Gospel music. So, what made you to actually choose this genre of music? R&B, hip hop.
Yeah, it's just an alternative to the music that we hear on the radio. It's entertaining music, but at the same time, the words are not really something young kids should be singing along to. So that's why I decided to make music that young people can relate to, they can dance to, they can be entertained, but also the message is uplifting and empowering. And I'm also a young person. I'm doing music that I would enjoy myself. I love traditional gospel music, but it's not that every gospel musician should be singing, one kind of sound. And so, yeah, I just love that people can dance along to my music, but also it being music that's empowering.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, from your church perspective, how is the reaction of the church? You know how old people can be like when you sing this kind of genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. How is the reaction at church?
Well, actually, in my church, in our ministry, first of all, everyone writes their own music, and because of that, you get different flavors of music. So in my church, it's very much acceptable. The kind of music that I do. The old people love my music. They dance along to it, and it's never been an issue if someone has looked down on me or anything. It's actually when I go outside, other ministries where there may be a little bit of a war up because they don't do this kind of gospel music. Even going to different radio stations, you'll find that gospel music radio stations will say, no, we don't do this kind of gospel music. So there are some challenges that I do face, mostly on the outside. In our ministry, it's no problem. Yeah.
No, that's great then. Now let's talk about your project that you do to empower the community, the school kids.
Yes.
You are involved in with the organization Battalion Dlofu.
Yes.
tell us more about?
So actually, Butter Lindlovu is, I got introduced to Babalwa, who's the founder of Butter Lindlovu. She's from Cape Town. The people I work with introduced me to her because they've heard that I get involved with communities in some way. So they brought us together, and she was willing to make me an ambassador for Butter Lindlovu. So we just had a few discussions on what things we could do for the kids, because she had already started some projects with the kids in Cape Town, go Guguletu. So when I came on board, I just had this idea of let's give them raincoats because winter's coming, but also Cape Town, it rains a lot. So we wanted to give them something that could translate in different seasons. So that's why we decided to do raincoats and school shoes as well, because she mentioned that a lot of them don't even have school shoes, or that their school shoes are worn out. And it was just interesting to see when we actually had the event on the 25th of May. The kids were so full of life. They were so happy. And then when we would give them the uniforms, we asked them to try on the school shoes. And you could just see some of them had sores on their feet. And you would have not known, because these kids look fine, they look happy. And, that just made my heart soar, just to see how that they were coming from conditions that weren't, so nice. So yeah, seeing the sores on their feet, and then just realizing that we really could do a whole lot more, especially now that it's getting cold, giving them socks, giving them blankets. So that was our very first event together this year. So we are planning on doing a big Christmas celebration with them. We'll be bringing jumping castles, giving them a fun day just to have a good time, and then hopefully working with some different sponsors, to bring in food for them to have, in their homes, bringing toys for the kids, and maybe a few items, clothing items as well.
Okay. So sorry to cut you.
Yes.
Are you guys only focusing in Cape Town, or?
She's based in Cape Town. Yes. Okay. So her project is relevant to the people who are in her area. She stays in Guguletu, okay. So a lot of the kids she actually knows personally, a lot of the families she knows personally. Yeah,
because I wanted to ask how did she identify the kids?
Yes, she knows a lot of them personally. Some of these kids are being fostered, so you get one lady who's fostering about 11 kids. It was even interesting when we were reading out their names. Some of them didn't even have surnames. So you can just see that, they don't even know who or where they're coming from, who they are. So it was just an experience, a different experience, meeting the children. And I was like carrying empty boxes, a lot of them. And this little kid, he's literally this high. He's like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "What?" So you can see that they have great hearts, and they're just joyous little kids, innocent little kids. And, it's just a way of uplifting them, just showing them that they don't have to be affected or not think big, not dream big, just because of where they are in that space.
Now, I just want to know. I normally hear people, and maybe someone want to know who's watching the show now. When you say you're an ambassador, yes. What do you mean? Because I hear this word all the time, an ambassador.
An ambassador, yes. Okay, so usually it means you're the face of the organization, but my role is basically to bring in whatever resources I can bring in my capacity. So, like I said, I've been in talks with different sponsors, to help with this organization. So that's my role as an ambassador. Also, just getting to know the children, being someone that they can come to as well. When they're facing challenges, although they're in Cape Town, but I still have some sort of relationship with them. And so basically wherever I go, I go as the ambassador of Butter Lindlovu, and I'm the one to speak to the people. Okay, yeah. I understand.
Now, you have a CD here.
Yes.
Melo.
Yes.
Light.
Yes.
Just a new...
The album, yes, yeah. It's called Light.
Yeah. So as a musician, yes. I just want to know, are you planning maybe to empower the kids with music in the future? Since when is what you are actually good at?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you planning?
Yes, even in our church, as the choir, we do have some events that are coming up where we go into schools, we're going to teach them about music, teach them about singing, you know, bringing different instruments as well, just teaching them the basics of music, especially those who are interested in music, because music is a very broad industry. You know, there's a lot that goes into music. Some people don't even know that music can be a business. You know, it's not just a hobby, it's not just you being the singer or the rapper. There's a business behind it. So it's a way of incorporating different things about the industry and giving it to the kids in a way that they can understand it. So we definitely want to do some projects in some schools. I know a few artists, and then we just want to come in together, even not just music. It could be, you know, acting, anything to do with arts. Yeah, so bringing different people in, you know, I know someone who's into fashion, so we can bring in those people just to discuss a bit about fashion, show them how to make something, you know, simple, that even when they leave, they can maybe start doing something for themselves and start making money for themselves, which is the idea. We want to empower them, not as a way of, here's some clothes, we're donating clothes, we just keep donating and they just keep receiving, but also teaching them how to have skills so that they can, you know, be able to make money for themselves.
That's a great one. Did this say that teach a child, no, don't give a child a fish, but
teach them how to fish. Exactly.
So
yes, it's true.
That's what you guys are doing. You know, that's a great one. Now, apart from, you know, Battalion Lofu,
yes,
you also have your own initiative.
Yes.
Where you go to schools, especially in Alexander,
yes,
to help the kids.
Yes.
Under the organization, We Own It.
We Own It, yes.
Please elaborate more about that.
Yeah, so We Own It is also just another way of saying we own our future. You know, we are the ones to determine what our future is. And so I'm working with one of my friends, her name's Mpoguhle. So we came together, it actually started 2 years ago. When we started with it wasn't actually with the school, it was just different homes. So what we did was collected clothes from members in church, you know, from people from different schools. The University of Johannesburg, we had also asked some students there to donate some clothes. And we actually had so many clothes, so we're so grateful for that. And we got a community hall in Alex. We set it up as a shop. So we had rails, we had hangers, we hung the clothes on the rails, and then we gave them like our own own it money. You know, it was just piece of paper that said earn it, but it was a way of just teaching, you know, budgeting and financing. So they used that money to buy the clothes that people had donated, but obviously it wasn't, it wasn't obviously, they weren't really buying it, but it was just to give them an experience of their shopping. You know, we had like a fitting room, we had plastics, so it was really like they went shopping. A lot of them were like walking out with plastics. So that was our very first initiative that we had. So we came back again this year, discussed how we wanted to have something that was a little more long-term, you know, that we could stay with the people and groom them and motivate them in different ways. So we decided to focus on schools. We have focused on one school where we work with a brother who's, you know, who already works with different schools in motivating them, you know, teaching them the word as well. So we decided to have a stationary drive early on this year. It was around March, where we did a concert. So we invited different artists, and how people were supposed to enter the concert was that they had to bring stationery. So it wasn't a way of paying for a ticket. They were paying by bringing stationery. And the turnout was really, really great, and a lot of people donated so much stationery. So we packaged it for the kids, and we invited the kids as well to come and enjoy the concert. And then after that, we went to the assembly on Monday, you know, did a little bit of motivational speaking, prayed with them, and handed over the stationery to some of the kids. And so our plan is to stay in that school and keep motivating them, you know, have talks with them, have business talks with them. So we want to do a business competition where the kids are we teach them different business skills, have someone come and have someone to come in and talk to them about business and entrepreneurship, and literally just letting them know you can start with anything, and the important thing is to start, and not to think that they can't do anything for themselves. And so we want to continue to do that throughout the year, and then at the end of the year we will have a bit of an expo where they can bring what they've made, or bring whatever their ideas were, and sell it to the community as a way of empowering themselves, making money for themselves, and also just showing people that you don't have to be affected by where you are. You can do whatever you want.
Now, you said something very important about just you need to start.
You need to start, yes.
Now, I want to know, how do you guys teach the kids? Because there is this mentality of saying, you need capital, you need funding for you to start. So when you say you teach them also, or you also encourage them to start with anything, what do you mean? Can I start without funding? Can I start without capital? You
most certainly can, and it's even better when you start without having to get funding, because then you're indebted to someone, you owe someone money. So something that we like to tell them, to let them know, is what do people need? When you see someone, they're wearing shoes, they're wearing earrings. You can make earrings out of almost anything. It doesn't have to be like expensive, just as a way of you to get started. You could grow veggies in your garden and start selling those to the people around you. I mean, how many people consume food every day? So, just teaching them to start even planting veg. Start with tomatoes, don't start with, a lot of things. That's another thing, being able to focus on one thing, because you need to be able to get one thing right before you start to branch out into other things. So if you're going to start with tomatoes, you start selling them a packet of 3 for 2 rand, or however you want to do it. And as you start doing that, and as you continue doing that, you will learn different things. You'll learn how to manage your money, how to interact with customers, so that's the kind of things we teach. How do you interact with customers when you do a business plan? Obviously a basic one, because they are still young, but just to teach them, like, mission, vision, this is what you need to put in it. Just talk about your business. Don't try to put big English and whatever. Just talk about what you do, and you never know who's going to want what you are providing.
No, I agree with you. I always personally tell people in my talks that you don't always need money to start.
You don't,
But sometimes you need skill, you need talent.
Yes.
To start. For example, I make this example all the time, that as a motivational speaker, if you invite me to come and speak in your event, you pay me. It's business.
Yes.
But I didn't need money to come to you. I just used my skill of speaking. And it's business,
Yes.
And I come to an event, someone will spot me. They said, no, I need this guy in my second event.
Exactly.
The other person is telling the other person, I grow, and it's business. I didn't need anything to start. I just needed my skill to start.
And that's
so
exactly
I think the
what
kids,
it is.
need really that teaching, that mentality of funding. Funding is good, yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Is against that.
In fact, it's better when you get funding when already your business is established, because you can already have your own terms. Unlike if you have no money and they can tell that you're desperate, there's a chance that they will take advantage of you. So it's better when you go in there already established.
No, that's great. Actually, Vusi Tembagwayo, I don't know if you know him, one of the motivational speakers, he said, you don't need funding to start, you need funding to grow.
Exactly, you do. You need funding to grow, not to start. I believe in that too.
Let's just instill that into kids.
Yes, and start them young, because that's something I discovered, a challenge that I discovered, where you're going through school, which school is great, it's important, you do learn, a lot from school. But a lot of the times in our schools, we don't have programs that focus on entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship makes a big part of our economy in South Africa, but it's not there aren't a lot of small businesses. It's people who are looking for jobs. So if we can start teaching our kids in schools how to make money for themselves, how to save money, because some of these things I've had to learn when I was older, like how to save money. And you are probably going to waste a lot of money, because those are some skills that you weren't necessarily taught. You had to learn as you were going. So if we can have those focuses on how to save money, how to budget your money, or how to talk in a meeting or in an interview, how to carry yourself. Those are some skills that could go a long way for these young kids, and not expect them now when they're in their 20s. You're looking at them, they're not going anywhere, you're almost blaming them. And I'm not saying they should have an excuse for not doing anything, but if they've been already equipped with some skills, there's a great chance that they're going to do something.
No, that's great. But let's thank God, because I was reading one of the newspapers, and I've heard that our new president, Ramaphosa, he is introducing entrepreneurship, or he wants entrepreneurship to
in
be
schools,
yes,
in the curriculum. I agree with him 100%. It would really be a big advantage for South Africa, because in South Africa we have resources and we have people who are really intelligent and willing to go out there, but just don't know where to start. So it's a great initiative.
No, thank you so much, Melo. Now, before we actually finish our conversations, your love for God.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me about the role of God in all these projects that you do. You started at a young age, helping the kids with their homeworks and stuff like that, and you have continued even now. You're a musician. You're not saying no. I'm just looking at my talent, but I'm doing something to empower the community. What is the role of God in all these things?
Well, God for me personally helped me in my own life, and helped me come out of a place where I was probably one of those kids who were not going to go anywhere. I was because of the different pressures that you face internally and even externally, from parents, from peers around you, I was in a space where I felt depressed. And when I decided to work on myself spiritually, it was such a different, it was a new life for me. And as I was enjoying this new life that I was discovering, discovering who I am in Christ, I then realized that there may be other kids going through the same, where they're not able to voice that they are going through challenges with different, because I was that person. I was very much an introvert. I couldn't tell anyone when I was struggling or going through challenges. And I thought to myself, okay, there must be more people going through this. And because you won't know that someone is going through something, you just immediately assume that this person is doesn't want to work, is lazy, or whatever the case may be, but not realizing that they're going through some challenges internally in their mind. So it's my way of using that experience to kind of help where I can with people who may be going through the same thing. Somebody may just need someone to listen to them. It's not that they need money. It's not that they need, a lot of things. They just need to talk and voice what they're going through, and have someone who can relate to help them get out of that situation. And it's my way of bringing light to the world, how God brought light into my life, just shedding joy, shedding, love, and showing them that, it doesn't have to end where you are. You can get out of it, and you can become bigger than the situation, which is, what I live by, and continuously growing myself in that way. And, even helping other people is a way of growing myself. So that's why it's so important for me.
You always talk about light, and even you entitled your CD
light.
Yeah,
because God is that light for me. And my songs are my experiences in my Christianity. So I talk about how my journey has been for me, and hoping that it will inspire the next person, and someone can relate to it, and be motivated as well. So God is my light, and it's just my way of shedding that light, and discussing, or rather displaying that in my music.
No, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you so much.
And if people want to get hold of you, maybe they want your CD, or maybe they want to book you for their events. Where can they get hold of you?
They can actually follow me on my different social media. On Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's my Meloland Music. So Melo is just Melo. I know a lot of people like to spell it with 2 L's or a W. So it's just Melo. So my Melo Music, my Meloland Music on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And then that's where they can get details for how they can book me.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And all the best, continue empowering the community.
I will do so. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Inspired Conversations, Living the Legacy with Legends. Remember, education is a powerful tool that we can use to change the world. My name is Unkarabile Mukoto, and I'm saying to you, let's meet next time, same place, same time on Global Conference TV. The journey continues.